Well, good afternoon, everybody. On this new year, first day, January 1st of 2014. Thank you so much for spending your New Year's Day with me. That definitely means a lot to me. We have on the webinar tonight several of my current Wolf Pups, which is what I call the clients, people that are in the Wolfpack Club that are on the program, and we have several other folks too listening in that are here to learn their New Year's resolutions for lasting leanness. And I was telling a few minutes ago, and I was telling everybody on the that was already logged in that these things we're about to go over today, and these I have five different New Year's resolutions. They are important for everybody, even if you don't even have the right map yet. There's still things you need to know before you start it. So if you're someone that's not signed up with me already, or not on the program yet, that's okay. This will definitely help you even more. And if you're already signed up and you're watching it, this will still help you to just reinforce those beliefs. So let's get going. Oh, and by the way, when we when we finish the webinar, I'll definitely bring some people on live to talk. I'll bring your voice on live and activate your microphone, and you're welcome to ask questions live, or you can type them in, either one. So first off, we have resolution number 1. Exercise and nutrition must change. Well, what does that mean? It means that it must change monthly. Most people really don't even follow a program for nutrition or a program for exercise. They just have a hodgepodge or just a whole hodgepodge of things they follow, and there's no real rhyme or reason to it. And we all know, for those people that are on board with me and that are watching tonight, or this afternoon rather, let me be very clear and tell you that's disastrous, and you'll never make effective success if you don't. So, but even if you do have a program, it's got to change monthly. What you do has to change monthly, and we're going to go more into depth onto that in a second here. Now, within your monthly eating program, the meals and the days, it must rotate daily. What that means is you shouldn't eat the same thing on a lifting day that you eat on a non-lifting day. And even if, let's say you don't lift weights or you don't exercise 3 days of the week, which leaves 4 days to exercise, at least 2 of those days shouldn't be the same. And of all the days you do lift weights, let's just pretend it's 4, at least 2 of those days should be different. So my point is that within the month confines, the monthly confines of an eating nutritional program, the days should still rotate within the week of that month. Does that make sense? All right, now when dealing with training programs, your training program, it must have weekly progressions. Well, what are progressions? I'm going to tell you that. And there's 3 ways, and I put the initials down for, not the initials, but the first letter down for each of them. First off, you have R. Your repetitions, your sets, or your weight should progress weekly. What that means is, let's just say if you're doing dumbbell seated vertical press with dumbbells, and you're using 15 pounds for, let's just say, 3 sets of 9. Okay? What that means is that week number 1, you might go up 1 rep, which would be 10 reps, 3 times 10, week 2. Okay? And then week 3, you'll add an extra set. So that means on week number 3, you'll do 4 sets of 10 with 15 reps. And then on week number 4, I might have you go up in weight. So that means on week 4, you might be doing, or you would definitely be doing in this hypothetical scenario, 4 sets of a 20-pound dumbbell for 10 reps each. But you started at 3 times 9 3 weeks ago. Or 4 weeks ago. Or I guess it would be 3 weeks ago if you go back to it. But my point I'm making is that each of those 3, the reason there are not 4 progressions in there is because week 1 there are no progressions, because it's your starting week. So your first progression is week 2 and week 3 and week 4, those are the only 3 weeks that would have progressions, if that makes sense. It's just simple math. But my point is that that's just an example. So what that's called is that triple progression. You're not only going up in reps or weight, but you're going up in the number of reps, the number of sets, and the weight used. Now you can mix it up. You can add a rep week 2 and week 4 and go up in weight week 3. There's a million different scenarios for that. But that's what a training, if you're doing 3 sets of 8 on week 1, you shouldn't be doing 3 sets of 8 on week 4. And you definitely shouldn't be using the same weight. And if you say to me, well, we can't go up in weight, it was too heavy, then I will tell you that tells that clearly. If someone says they can't go up in weight, or they can't add any reps or sets, even by the second week, what you've just proven to me is that you had a poorly designed program. And you're like, well, why? I did the most weight I could. You shouldn't be doing the most weight or the most sets you can do the first week. That tells me you clearly don't understand program design. You always want to leave room for improvement. And men and women are just as bad. And women might even be worse, believe it or not, because women are not afraid to lift hard and heavy. Now, they have a different definition of heavy, but let me reword that. Women have no problem at all. In fact, women work their ass off in the weight room in the gym a lot harder than guys do. You heard me correct on that. And that's actually a bad thing, because they think that more is better. And when you go too hard the first week, where do you go from there? There's nowhere to go. You want to leave room for progressions, and you're like, well, we're going to waste the first week. Not if your program is designed correctly. Not if it's designed correctly. And you might say, well, why won't, or, well, I won't be sore. Well, you shouldn't be gauging your progress off soreness. You shouldn't gauge your effectiveness off soreness. And if you choose different exercises at the end of the month, so when you start your next month and you choose different exercises, you will be a little bit sore. Not that you should be sore, but that comes with the territory. Let's keep moving here. So, and you're like, well, how do I tie all this together? And that's why you fill out a progress. You track your progress after each month. I mean, this is basic common sense. Even if you, pardon me, even if you don't even, I mean, whether it's in accounting or a mechanic or an athlete or an astronaut, no matter what line of work or endeavor you're in, you always want to track your progress. I mean, I'm no accountant, but I know enough to know to keep track of what I earn each month. I mean, this is just, but there's trainers out there that don't even do this. And there's people out there that don't even, and guys, testing your body fat every day or weighing every day isn't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about doing it at this one time a month, one time per month after a full month on your program. And that's when you want to track progress, and then based off your results, you design the next program accordingly. And that's the way it's supposed to be done. And if you do that, you keep making progress. If you don't do that, you stall. This is just basic common sense. All right, resolution number 2, stop being persnickety. I posted this on my Facebook page today, and basically, most people don't know what it means, so I'm going to define it right here. This is the definition. Fussy, giving a lot of attention to details that are minor or not important. I can't tell you how many folks that have signed up with me or haven't signed up. I don't want to pick on people that have been in the program, but I am a little bit. But my point is that so many people out there, they focus on the minor. They major in the minor. Have you heard that expression? Don't make a mountain out of a molehill. Let me know if you've heard that expression. Don't major in minor things. Have y'all heard that expression? And that is no greater or more evident that when it comes to nutrition, even more so than exercise. So a good example of that is this, is that, well, we'll get to that. Basically what I just said, you have to be able to focus on the bigger picture in order to be successful. I mean, some minor details are important, but the fact that they're minor should let you know that the bigger picture is what's going to influence your ultimate results in the long run. And there's other points I'm going to make on this, so we'll keep moving. Okay, here's a good example. And I use this analogy, but it's not even an analogy because it's a true story, but they're scared to eat something one day, on day one, when they start their program, and I use seasoning or salt as an example. I've had a woman, and I had a different woman do this a a month ago, 2 months ago, believe it or not. But here's the example. Had a woman sign up a couple years ago. She says, Jeff, can I put seasoning on my chicken? Well, those of you that have read my FAQ page on my website clearly know that I list you can have 2 up to 3 tablespoons of condiments, seasonings, spices, salt, whatever you want to call it. If you want a tablespoon of mayonnaise, a tablespoon of mustard, a tablespoon of ketchup, of soy sauce, of Cajun seasoning, whatever, of sea salt, whatever. You get 4 a day, or 2 to 3 a day. 4 might be a bit much, but the point I'm making is that that's already listed. So the woman asked that, and I said, well, go to my FAQ page and check it out. Well, then about a week later, 6 days later, she says, oh, I feel like such a loser. I just ate like a whole pack of Girl Scout cookies. And I'm thinking, now what would possess a human being to be so concerned and diligent about precisely eating? What would give her the impression that seasoning would be, what would make her so cautious to eat seasoning? But she threw all the caution to the wind when it came to girl. She hadn't even asked permission. And I actually made a video on this, and it goes deeper than that. But the bottom line is that this is someone that was clearly focused on the minor details. It doesn't matter if you eat seasoning or not if you're going to eat a dozen Girl Scout cookies. Does that make sense? I mean, this is common sense stuff now. But that's what I'm good at. It's common sense, but it's not very common, and I'm good at bringing stuff like that to light. So let's keep moving. Now this is a good one I get. Actually, let me back up a minute. I wanted to make one more point about this. Is that a lot of younger girls struggle with this the most. And when I say younger, let's just say girls in their 20s. Okay? Women in their 20s, they believe that if they mess up on one teensy-tiny little thing, if they have 6 almonds instead of 4, if they have 18 almonds instead of 16 almonds, if they have, if they have 2 cups of broccoli instead of 1 cup of broccoli, if they have too much seasoning, you get the picture, then they think the eating program all of a sudden turns worthless. That extra 3 almonds, that extra half tablespoon of spices, that ultimately will make, they think if they have orange roughy instead of tilapia, or if they have to substitute beef instead of chicken, they think that will ruin their program. They think that every little tiny thing on their program is voodoo, and that if they have one little tiny quirk or change, that boom, it's now worthless. And that's a very dysfunctional mindset. That's a highly dysfunctional mindset, just so you know. So don't do that. Don't be persnickety. Now, this is a problem I've had with current people that have already been on my program. And here's what they'll say. And I've had this happen with people that have been on their 4th and 5th month. And it's very disrespectful to me. It's very disrespectful. So I'll say this now so you guys can absorb it. But I don't answer the why question. So why do you have me doing this, or why is that? Now sometimes I'll get a question worded like this, and it's right here below here. Is there a reason why you didn't include protein powder this month? I've already bought 3 jugs of it. By asking that question clearly proves to me that you're a very poor communicator. By asking that question proves to me that you're not able to give information correctly, because anybody that's been on board with me clearly knows before every time somebody renews or signs up and renews, I always say, tell me all the foods you want or don't want. And you're like, well, protein powder is not a food. No, it's not, but once a day, well, not even once a day, probably 3 days, maybe 4 days a week, a protein powder can replace a meal. It can be a meal replacement. If you add blueberries or walnuts or almonds or a fat in a berry source to it, it can be a very healthy meal replacement a couple, 2 or 3 days a week. That's fair. But the point I'm making is that when someone says, is there a reason why you didn't include this? It's almost a rhetorical question. It's very disrespectful, and it clearly proves to me that there's an awful lack of communication there. So, and that's also someone that's very persnickety, because that's definitely being fussy. An effective communicator clearly lists what they do want, what they don't want, and if they remember something like a day later, then they just tell me and I'll plug it in. It's extremely simple, folks. It's very easy. For those of you that are on board, that are listening in, you'll admit it's very easy to connect the dots. One of the things that makes me successful, or that helps me, the linchpin that makes me indisposable when dealing with folks that need program design in their nutrition and effective fat loss results, is that it's very simple. It's simple. I'm a simplifier, guys. I'm here to simplify things. Who here likes simple things? Raise your hand. Type in the left-hand chat column if you like simple things. I'm a simplifier. I like simple things. Now, just because something's simple doesn't mean it's easy. It's not easy to prepare your food. We all know that. It might take 1 or 2 hours at first, but it's simple to follow. I think we'll agree with that. Okay, resolution number 3. Being sick or injured doesn't affect what you put in your mouth. You may not be able to exercise when you are sick or injured. And when I say injured, that can refer to people that have had surgery. Might have had a hip replacement. Might have had what's it called? An appendicitis? I don't even. Appendectomy, I think it's called. Or any operation that you might have to miss time from. So that doesn't mean you still can't eat healthy. That's not an excuse to not eat healthy. Now, I knew a woman that was getting radiation treatment and chemotherapy, and she would, it's just, for those of you that have maybe had this or had a loved one that went through radiation and chemo, it's difficult to eat. You feel queasy and sick. But bless her heart, when she did eat, she ate healthy food. So I understand that when you have a chronic long-term illness, and hopefully nobody listening to this has that. I would pray nobody does. But in a situation where that is the situation, where that's what you got to deal with, then you can still eat some healthy food when you're able to eat. So outside of those unique scenarios, if you have a broken leg or you had a back operation or whatever the case may be, you can still eat healthy. Now, I had someone ask this recently. Someone said, I'm really concerned, and this person is not on board with my program, just to be clear. This is someone that's not signed up with me. They said, it's someone that actually asked a question to me. She said, I am really concerned about my progress because of my back. And this person recently had back surgery and constant pain from the injury. I really want this to work for me, and I want to see amazing results fast. I want everybody on this call tonight, or to this afternoon, to let this sink in for a minute and let the utter and absolute insanity and dysfunctional nature of this question sink in. And it's not even a question, it's just a statement. This is someone that just had back surgery and says they want to see amazing results fast. This is an absolutely and utterly dysfunctional mindset. It's going to lead to failure every time. I mean, it just, for somebody like this, all you should be focused on is your next meal. You're in pain, you got an injured back, you're in constant pain like you just said, but you want amazing results fast? I mean, there's some unrealistic underlying dysfunctional belief system behind this, and I don't know where this came from. I really don't. I was talking to, I don't know if she's on the call tonight, but this girl named Sarah, sweet little girl from Baton Rouge that's on her program, and I was telling her I can pinpoint most issues with folks, but I don't know this one. I really don't. I don't know this one, but this is definitely something that's got me stumped. So now, when you're like this, and let's pretend that you're in a situation where you're in constant pain and you've had back or any surgery, then your constant weapon against fat loss is what? It's food. It's what you put in your mouth. Food is your only weapon. You can't cardio, you can't run, you can't jump, you can't dribble a basketball, you can't jump on a trampoline. All you can do is put food in your mouth. And if your arms are broken, then someone else is going to have to put food in your mouth. The point I'm saying is that you can control what goes in your mouth. That's all you got control over for the most part. So it's crucial that you follow the exact, precise thing you could. That would only a fool would go into a situation like that without having pinpoint accuracy in their nutrition. Am I wrong? Who here thinks I'm off base? If you want forget amazing results fast. That's absolutely insanity for this situation. But if you just want to try to make some progress, that should be your goal. I'm going to make some progress. I'm going to try to resolve and create a good habit. And that good habit is what you put in your mouth. And I'm going to focus on my next meal. That's all you can focus on when you're injured or sick. That's it. And when you do that, and when you do return to exercise and you're cleared by your doctor, you will have a much easier transition into rehab, into exercise. And someone like this, I mean, good heavens, they're going to need to go to rehab and therapy and Lord knows whatever else, for crying out loud. I mean, that's just, to say you want amazing results fast while you're in constant pain from back surgery, that's absolutely delusional. I want everybody on this webinar to type in the left-hand column and say, Jeff, I agree with you. That's absolute insanity. Or say, Jeff, no, that's normal. I think it's normal to want amazing results fast when you're in constant pain from a back injury, from back surgery. This is so utterly incredible. But and that's why I put it up here, folks. I put it up here to demonstrate the dysfunctional is really the only word I can think of. Dysfunctional or delusional mindset that some people have. So let's keep moving. All right, resolution number 4. And this is something that's got to stop happening for a lot of folks. Focus on why you can be successful instead of why you can't. Look, I made a typo here. That should say we. But we know the reasons why people fail. I know the reasons why people fail. You don't need to repeat problems in limiting beliefs. I've had some people that would sign up with me. And for those of you that don't know, when you sign up, I have a message board forum. It's by and each person on there gets a journal. And they can write whatever they want, and they can chat with other members and share their experiences and ask questions. And it's a great place to promote accountability, social support, and mentorship with me and the other folks in the system as well. And unfortunately, every once in a while, I'll get someone that just says they'll tell all the reasons why and I've had at least 3 women do this last year. And they'll tell all the reasons why they can't be successful. And I've had a woman that she bought like a $450 program, and then the next day gets in her journal and writes, I'm starting school next month, or I'm starting, I have to take care of a family member, my car just broke down, and I feel like I'm getting sick, I have a pain in my leg. They listed like 7 or 8 complaints right before they're going on their journey. Let me ask you guys a question. I played college football, okay? And before the biggest game of the year, before any game, but especially the biggest game of the year, what if, and some of you guys might have played sports. It doesn't have to be in college. It could have been in high school. But the point I'm making is, what if my football coach got in there and said, guys, the team's better than us. We got too many guys injured. So-and-so, our best player, stubbed his toe. It's rainy outside. We don't have as many fans here as I thought we would. Their crowd, their fans are way too crazy and rowdy. What would you do? What would the players think? Can you imagine a coach saying that? That's just utter and absolute insanity. Hollywood screenwriters couldn't write something so dysfunctional. But I've got women that will sign up, very few, I've had a few, and will list all the reasons why they can't be successful. And you're like, Jeff, nobody would do that. No human in their right functioning mind would do that. No, they do it. That's what's so insane about it. And the reason a coach you would never say it before a game is because you deflate all the energy of the team. Same thing with this. You're killing yourself. And it's like I say here, tell me why you can. I'll tell you one reason. You have a premium program. and an extraordinary support system. And I'm just a small part of that. You know the biggest supporters, and I want a heck yeah from everybody on this call tonight or this afternoon that thinks I'm right or that agrees with me. Tell me if you agree with this statement. The biggest supporters that supported you or that cheered you up in your journal and within the member forum on my message board is who? It's other members that have been there, done that. It's other members that have been clinically obese, that have had a eating disorder, that have had an operation, that are still coming back strong, that are still eating their next meal, that are still getting back on track, that practice what they preach, that don't make excuses. Do you feel me on that? Those are the people, and I know it. I know it. Feel me on that. I know I can see it. Those are the people that are really helping you the most. That's as real as it gets. Okay, resolution. This is the last one. No matter, and I've said it a million times, no matter what happened the last meal, you can still eat the next meal like it's the most important meal of your life. Like it has a history and life of its own. Like your entire success. Eat every meal like that meal is the most important meal of your life. Eat the next meal up. Whichever meal is that. What's up next? Okay, go eat it. That's all you should focus on. Let me tell, and I got this point down here at the bottom, one step back, 2 steps forward. Let me share what this means. What this means is that there's going to be people, and I've got them, there's some of my most successful clients have horrible days, have horrible weeks where they eat junk, and you're like, well, Jeff, how are they so successful? Well, because they do what? They follow this. They get right back on their most people fail on their eating programs not because they mess up. It's because when they mess up, they don't keep going. They stay down. When they fall down, they stay down. When the wolf pups fall down, the wolf pups get back up. What's a wolf pup? The wolf pup are the name of that's what we call our other people in the program, or program follower. They're a wolf pup. I'm the leader of the pack, and they're the wolf pups. So the point I'm making is that when a wolf pup falls down, a wolf pup is going to get back up and get back up. We're all going to fall down, but the wolf pups get back up. That's what sets us apart. And as time goes on, they fall down less and less. So that's one step back, 2 steps forward. What that means is that when you fall down, okay, eat your next few meals. And if you fall down again, so we might regress here. You might regress here and there. But it's kind of like the analogy or the old saying, if you will, 1 step back, 2 steps forward. So we'll have a few little setbacks along the way, but if you keep getting up, you'll still make progress over the long haul. It might take a little bit longer. But if you've got eating disorders, if you've got emotional attachments to food, this is part of the course. This comes with the territory. I mean, and you know, if you have the right nutritional map in place, people will still fall down because it's not a food issue. It's not a food issue. It's an emotional issue with a lot of folks. Now, let me cover some more bullet points here if they'll come up. So, okay, here's a girl that signed up recently. I'm going to brag on her. Her name's Amanda, and she had an awesome first post in her journal. And she signed up, I think, yesterday, and I just sent her program today. But what she said is that, and we've all heard this, and I should have put her whole quote in here, but I just put it, it's in red right here. She said, eat the next meal like it's the most important one in your life. She said that philosophy just makes so much more sense. Or that philosophy makes this so much more, and what she went on to say, doable or possible or attainable or sustainable. Pardon me, but what she was comparing it to was that she said she always had trainers that would say, well, just eat egg whites and veggies and oats and chicken. Well, that you can read that in any fitness magazine out there. Dr. Oz will tell you that. But guys, there's a lot more to it than that. We all know, an apple's better than a cupcake, a chicken breast is better than a piece of fried chicken. We all know that. You don't need a trainer to tell you that. But it's designing the entirety and the rotation and the manipulation and the month-to-month structure and sustainability of that. And then it's having the emotional support and the social support and the right mentorship to guide you every step of the way. So it's all those facets that come together. And I can't tell you how many coaches or trainers will just say, well, just follow the plan. And I wish I'd plugged that in, because she said people would always say to her, well, just follow the plan. And she's like, well, I never really had a plan, you know. And once again, a sheet of paper with eat these 4 meals a day, that's not a plan. A nutritional program, at a minimum, should have every day of the week listed out and tell you what to eat for all 7 days of the week. Now, every single day doesn't need to be different. In fact, but I will say this, is that at least 5 of those days need to be different. So if you have 5 different days, what that would tell me is that 2 or 3 of those days might be the same, but they won't be back to back to back. Like day 1 might be the same as day 3, or however it's set up. But the bottom line is that there needs to be at least 5 days of variation in there, based on the individual, maybe even more. So a lot of people say, well, stick to your plan. Well, what happens if you screw up? The old phrase, follow your plan or just stick to the program, that doesn't emotionally address you when you screw up. But eat your next meal. No matter what happened the last meal, you can still eat the next meal like it's the most important meal of your life. And this phrase and this quote have saved so many people. All right. I think I got one more bullet point here. Let's see if we can get it in. Okay. And this is Ala. And I bragged about her last time. And this is her first month. Next month, this is like 4 or 5 months into her program. And she was someone that was a lean, fit, athletic person. And she actually did too much exercise and ate a lot of processed, refined foods, a lot of Quest bars, a lot of shakes, a lot of granola bars. Always loved Quest bars. And I say Quest bars have prevented more people. Quest bars, I've never had them, but I've heard they taste pretty good. Well, guys, a candy bar tastes good too. But if you want to get lean and fit, you don't go eating them. Same thing with a Quest bar. She ate tons of Quest bars. We took the Quest bars out, put in healthy whole food, and removed about 75%. And you're not. That's not a typo or a blurb on my microphone. We removed, as in cut out, 75% of her exercise, and we kept 20. Well, we switched it up, and she reduced her exercise by 75%. Ate more food, took out the junk bars, and look how lean and ripped she got. Now you might say, well, I don't want to get that lean and ripped. That's not the point. You may not have wanted to get as lean and ripped as JJ right here, but that's not the point. The point of the matter is that everybody on this call tonight wants to get more leaner and more fit. So with that being said, I'm going to go back. I'm going to leave this right here. I'm going to actually go back to Nicole. She was the first girl on the slide. She's been with me for 2 years, believe it or not. I'm going to minimize the screen. I'm still here. Don't log off. And I'm going to answer questions. Now let's see what questions we got. I know we got some good ones. So we got a ton of them. Let me scroll up here, and I'm going to read them out here. We got some great stuff. So Patricia's saying, this is cool. I've never done this before. We're glad to have you here, Patricia. All right, what do we have here? So we're going right down. Sarah's here. Sarah says hi. Concerned about progress. What progress? Yeah, exactly, Sarah. Yeah, I see that. So people are asking. Now let's see if we have any questions from anybody. Susan's saying, I've made so many mistakes, but I'm signing up for month 3 soon. Usually I would have given up. And that goes to show. Susan says she, and this is probably the same for a lot of folks. Usually they would throw in the towel already. Look, and Susan might even want to chime in here, and I'll let somebody come on live here on the call if you want. So think about if anybody wants to come on the microphone, I'll activate it. But a lot of women will try diet program after diet program after fat loss program after nutritional program, order the shakes, they'll order a Advocare, they'll order a Weight Watchers, they'll order some Facebook trainer, blah, 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 blah. And it's the same wash, rinse, repeat. And I think Susan's a good example of that, because she just said, I would have quit before. Because for someone like Susan, and I hope she doesn't get mad at me for saying this, but for someone like her, and like a lot of people, in fact, I'd say 80% of people are like Susan in that they're emotional eaters. They eat not because they're still hungry. Oftentimes, people don't stray from their program because they're hungry. They stray because I give you guys tons of food. Anybody will tell you, I'm going to fill your belly up with food. You better get your knife and fork ready to go to work, because we're going to do some serious eating. But the point is that people eat off program because they're unfulfilled in other areas of their life. They're emotional eaters. let me bring this back up here so y'all can look at it. But that's what happens a lot, and they quit because people think if they screw up once, they're worthless, they're a loser for life. Well, we're going to mess up. If you're an emotional leader, don't expect to never mess up for the rest of your life. That's absurdity. Okay? But what you can do is what? Eat your next meal like it's the most important meal of your life. Eat it. Now, is there anybody that has a question that would like to come on the... then I'll activate your microphone. I'll tell you what, you can ask any question you want in the chat column. And I'm going to put the chat column... we'll keep it as it is. I'll tell you what, I'm going to put the chat to private. To private. So if anybody has a question they want to ask, I'll be the only person that sees it. If that's okay. And if anybody wants to come on live, I'll activate your microphone. You can come on and ask me a question. And I won't be mean to you. I won't bully you. I'll be very patient and sweet. But a lot of people... You can't beat yourself up if you're an emotional eater. You can't do that. You've got to work off the impression and understanding that it's going to happen and that you've just got to get back on track. Now, is there anybody out there that would like to come on and maybe not even ask a question, but maybe just kind of reiterate what I said? Susan, would you feel comfortable coming on? I'll give her a chance to answer. Well, looks like everybody's busy right now or doing their thing. But if you guys, here's my question for you guys, if you don't mind. Oh, okay, Susan said she'll answer any questions. If anybody has a question, Susan said she'll answer it. So if there's anybody listening today that has a question, Susan said she'll answer it. So if you have a question, type it in and I'll read it out loud and Susan can answer it. So, while we're waiting on that, let me say this. If you guys all would please, if you don't mind, Patricia Morris says, what kind of questions? Well, Patricia, you're already signed up. So I think, or you could still ask a question, but I think what Susan meant was that if anybody has a question about emotional eating or any hindrances that they've experienced that other wolf pups have used to overcome those, that's what, or the program benefits. Susan just said, or the benefits of the program for somebody that does have an eating, or is an emotional eater and might even have an eating disorder, is that how having that next meal up mentality and having the social support mentality is what benefits. So, well, we're waiting on that real quick. If you guys would please, if you watch this webinar, if you don't mind, go to my webpage and on my most recent post where I plugged in the webinar registration link, just simply say, hey, I love the webinar, I liked it, or I didn't like it, or it was good, or it was bad. You can say whatever you want, but just all I ask is that you be honest. So that's your thank you to me. If for me doing this generous free webinar, this gratis webinar, information rich webinar.